But let's not forget the public benefits of higher education. Higher rates of volunteering. Individuals with higher levels of education, bachelor's degrees in particular, are more likely to volunteer in their communities, and they give more hours per week volunteering. Greater tolerance and concern for human rights, and also better health. One thing, though, that you may not have known is now that we have better data on time use. If you even look at working mothers and the amount of time that they spend with their children, the amount of time is higher for those with a bachelor's degree versus only a high school degree. And you may wonder, is this work causal for the researchers out there? Many of these patterns have been shown to be causal, meaning that we actually see changes in these kinds of behavior once we see changes in higher education levels. So while there are many benefits, though, I think the reason why many of us are here is because we realize, though, there are many problems as well. So this graph is showing you the college enrollment rate from 1965, which is starting with the war on poverty, up to 2015. And it's looking at 18 to 24-year-olds. And each line is a different slice of the income distribution. So the top line is the top 25%. The bottom line is the bottom 25% of the income distribution. And what you can see is over time, gradually more people have been going to college in general. But at issue is the gaps between the rich and the poor, even after decades and trillions of dollars and hours spent on financial aid, academic preparation supports, mentoring programs, coaching, advising, we still have this gap between the rich and poor, this very stubborn gap that we've been trying to address for decades. But it's not just enrollment, it's not just access into college, we also have to be very concerned about success. Are students graduating? Small things can make a really big difference. When you're talking about programs or policies, whether they be financial aid, academic preparation, or other things students need to do as they navigate the system, the sign-up process matters greatly. And things that we think are small barriers like forms actually can be humongous showstoppers for students. But once they cross these key barriers, once we saw them cross that FAFSA barrier, all of a sudden they were in college and persistence. Once they opened that college savings account, they started to save, even if it was just small amounts. Now with complex processes, it may be the case that more than information is needed. Information is not going to solve every problem. And sometimes we need hand-holding and assistance and reminders, or even incentives like opening deposits, as you see many cities and states are doing with trying to start families and savings accounts. But also just keep that in mind. And then finally, proactive outreach is absolutely key. The two examples I gave you, the FAFSA projects as well as the college savings projects, were projects where we were out in communities. We were doing a great deal to meet families where they are. If you build a website, they're probably not going to come. That proactive research is absolutely key, and understanding what is going to help a busy parent or a busy student and meeting them where they live and where they work in order to take steps forward. It's not a matter of lack of hard work or ingenuity or desire, but with busy families that are dealing with so many challenges, if we want to help them, then we have to be proactive. So simplifying support, guiding students and helping them to channel their efforts, that's our goal, so that they can get credit for all the hard work that they're putting in. First, can we change the infrastructure to the processes? Can we actually change the forms? And so with the H&R Block project, with the FAFSA, the first draft of that paper came out in March 2009. And we just so happened to have a new president and a new secretary of education, and there was a lot of momentum that was already building that we were able to add to with a piece of research that said just how important it was to try to simplify the form. And so for those of you who've completed the FAFSA more recently and you have the IRS data pre-populating the form and so forth, some of that came out of some of that work. But I would say our job is not done. There's so much more we could continue to do to simplify the FAFSA as well as other state financial aid forms. There are the ways that we can use personalized information to simplify processes. Take, for example, families that are in different kind of government dependency programs. If you've already gone through the process of proving that you need food stamps, You've already proven you're poor. You are going to get a Pell Grant. Is there a way that we can have offices talk and share information so that it's not as cumbersome for have students go through these processes? Or we could be much more proactive with our outreach to students saying, you are eligible for this, and we know this because of other information. We need to thoughtfully deliver information. I said before, families want more information, but we have to be thoughtful in how we're delivering it. And perhaps that means technology. I mentioned Ben Castleman and Lindsay Page before, who've had a lot of success in text messaging students just in time, or reminders, or helping them connect with counselors. And we have ongoing work right now with Chris Avery, where we've been doing that earlier in high schools. And then finally, what I envision with all of this, if we can take care of the rote, if we get in the routine and the unnecessary processes, so we could actually change the way that practitioners, counselors, teachers, families use their time to focus on the more complicated, personalized kinds of decisions, that there would be huge gains there. We don't want our people face-to-face time to be with these processes that are not helping anyone. Instead, we want to be counseling and supporting students.